One of the biggest opportunities on YouTube is the fact that you can monetize your content through the AdSense program. Of course, to do that, you've got to get your first 1,000 subscribers and your first 4,000 hours of watch time, which is, of course, easier said than done. So stick with me, because in this deep dive training, I have Rob Wilson from vidIQ, who's going to be sharing 5 strategies, a bunch of case studies and nuances for actually how to get your first 4,000 hours of watch time. And so I'm super fired up. Smash like if you're ready for today. And I'm going to welcome Rob to the stream. Rob, how's it going?
Hello, everybody. Sean, first of all, thank you very, very much for inviting me onto the Think Media stage. I mean, we're all sort of YouTube educators, and there are a few people I look up to in this industry, but you are certainly one of them. Not only are you an inspiration to all of your community, but myself and many others included. So I just want to say what a wonderful job you do for us all. And yeah, hello, everybody. Hello. I'm going to call you all Think Meteorites. I don't know if that's the official title of the community, but I thought it had quite a nice ring to it.
We're coming in like a meteorite, about to crash down with some serious strategies. But I'm fired up. I'm going to hand it over to you. You've got 5 points, and throughout it, we'll also take some questions. And so let's dive in. Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So hello, everybody. What I want to talk to you today about are many of the, I guess, concepts and strategies that can be used by all creators. But I think these are really key as you're starting your YouTube journey and you're thinking about that first real important goal, which is, when you start your channel, you want to start earning some revenue and return in your investment. And let's be honest about this. 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time is a lofty target for a lot of creators. And just thinking about that goal can be pretty daunting. And that can almost sometimes lead to creative paralysis. So the first thing I want to encourage everybody to do, and this is somewhat of a personal opinion here, and I'm more than welcome to sort of discuss this in the chat and with Sean in a few minutes. But I personally think that when you start your YouTube journey and you just want to get stuck in there and start to make content, I think that there's a certain element of quantity leading to quality. And Sean, if you can just bring up my slide now, I'm going to describe this in somewhat of a unique fashion, because I'm going to do this by the medium of juggling. Now, let me just explain. About 15 years ago, I decided I wanted to juggle. And I knew that when I was going to learn how to juggle, that no matter how many books I read and how many videos I watched, when I first threw those balls up in the air, I was going to drop them. And I was going to drop them many, many times. And that went on, because juggling has a really steep learning curve. Your hands, your eyes, your brain, you just can't figure it out all at once. And it takes time for that coordination to come together. And I think it must have taken about 3 or 4 hours of total frustration, getting nowhere. And then all of a sudden, it started to click. And I was able to catch the balls more often, and I was being more successful with it. To the point now where I can not juggle for months, but because I have that innate muscle memory, it comes back to me and I can do it very easily. And I say, in a metaphorical sense, when it comes to YouTube, you've just got to start throwing the balls up in the air and get practice. And Sean, whenever I watch one of your Think Media videos, that 2-second intro that's mentioned is, you've just got to press record. And so when I think of the whole YouTube process, there are many things that you just got to do when you first jump into your YouTube journey. I think that includes, you just got to make mistakes, and lots of them. You will find out in the very first video that if you're miles away from your microphone, it sounds awful. So remember on the second video to place a microphone as close to your voice. That's one mistake that you're going to learn and pick up on very quickly. Learn the process. It's not just about pressing record. You got to learn how to plan content, think up of ideas. You got to learn how to record 5 hours worth of footage and then edit out 50% of it because it was total rubbish. You've also got to think about how when you make content, and the more content you make, you give YouTube lots and lots of data. And then you can start to make data-driven decisions, because ultimately what YouTube's data actually is a manifestation of your audience and how they are reacting to your content. And the more you do this, the more repetition of content creation, the more muscle memory you learn, so that when you think about how to set up your recording studio and how you're editing something, it comes to you instinctively, and you're more efficient and you're quicker and you're better at making all of this content. And so that's why I believe today's quantity leads to tomorrow's quality. And I think also a lot of creators are always worried about if they make a mistake on their channel that YouTube's going to punish them. And I'm here to tell you that your YouTube channel is not made of glass. If you make one mistake, it's not going to shatter into a million pieces all over the floor, and you have to start all over again. I mean, Sean, I know, I think right now you're doing a challenge of getting to 1,000 subscribers, and you're encouraging people to make as many videos as possible in that 30-day period, as opposed to just making that one perfect video, which you don't know whether or not it's going to work with your audience.
100%. And I love this tip, because I think what can happen is we can fall into the comparison trap, and we are watching so much YouTube content. In fact, shout me out, Think Media, in the comments, like, who are some of the creators you watch? And let me know if you ever fall into that trap of comparison, like, oh, they're just like a better communicator, they're such a great editor, or they have a better camera. And wow, how did they get so good on camera? But what ends up happening is what my friend John says, we compare our beginning to other people's middle.
Absolutely.
And they've clocked, Rob, like they might have clocked 1,000 hours, 5,000 hours, 10,000 hours of mess ups, mistakes, practicing. Sometimes the channel they've started today is their third YouTube channel,
Absolutely.
And we're comparing, thinking the fact we've only been doing this for like 100 hours, or not even that. We're literally just starting, that we should be getting the same results. And so you're absolutely right. That quantity and that repetition is super powerful, especially just getting to that first 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
Absolutely. And so I think that's almost like a general recommendation wherever you are, but it's so crucial when you're wanting to start to meet those first milestones as you work into 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. Let's move into a little more of a strategic mindset now, as opposed to work ethic and that sort of thing. Identifying opportunities can sometimes be the biggest struggle for a creator, because they're just not sure what type of content to create. And again, I want to give you a bit of a theoretical case study here, but I was blown away by the results I found after just a few minutes of research. I've got back into building Lego. I am of a particular age now where maybe Lego wasn't part of my life, but now with a disposable income and lots of time on my hands, I can now start to build some really interesting pieces of Lego. Whenever I go on vacation, I buy a big Lego set and I build it. So I built the Millennium Falcon. There's also the Avengers helicarrier here. And then this last one, which I built a couple of weeks ago, was the Space Shuttle Discovery and the Hubble telescope. And this has some sentimental value to me, because I was actually at Cape Canaveral when I saw that shuttle launch. I think it was back in 1990. And I just loved building that. It brought back some memories. And so I love building Lego. And, if I was a Lego builder and I wanted to create a YouTube channel, I mean, obviously, when you're starting to do your research, you will find that Lego is already a huge topic on YouTube. And so we have channels here of hundreds of thousands of subscribers building huge sets. And, how are you going to compete with these creators? Well, hopefully, if you're passionate about building Lego, you'll start to learn so many things about the Lego universe. And just as I was doing a bit of research yesterday, I came across this fascinating app called Brickit. And what this apparently does is through AI, you can just scan a collection of Lego bricks and then it will suggest something for you to create, from your spare bits and pieces. I thought it was really fascinating. I want to know more about this. And obviously, if you want to know more about something, where do you naturally go? And that is to YouTube. So I did a search for Brickit, the app, and the results here were absolutely astonishing. We have lots of vidIQ tools here, and we're seeing the keyword score down in the bottom right-hand corner, which is showing us the search volume, which is average, but competition is low, and that is really shown in the results. Because one of the telltale signs of where there is incredible search opportunity is when, first of all, there are small channels ranking at the top of the search terms, as we can see here. A channel at the very top of the search terms here with 760 subscribers has a video with 25,000 views, and it was published only 3 weeks ago. That, to me, suggests there is an incredible opportunity in this niche of talking about an app that's going to help you build Lego. And if I wanted to do some further, research on this to try and understand the language, or the common tongue of the Brickit app, then again through vidIQ, we have the Enable Inline Keywords tool. You turn it on and then bang, pretty much all of the keyword research here has been done for you through video tags. I could click on one of these, go into the keyword research, and not only do you have all of the words that people are using within this keyword topic, but you've also got the language that you may want to use. Now, I just want to add as well that there is a lot of talk here about how valuable video tags are these days, and YouTube is telling us that they're not very important. And I would personally agree with that to a certain extent. But what I will say is that just to have all of these different keywords and phrases can be so crucial in building the foundations of your content, be it the language that you use in your videos, the words that you speak, in the titles, in the descriptions, in the thumbnails, even the text in the videos, because we're seeing YouTube use more and more technology to help viewers find the right content. And I don't know if you've heard about this, Sean, recently. There is a new tool that's just been released by YouTube called Automatic Chapters, whereby it will automatically try and segment different parts of a YouTube video based on its content. So you know that YouTube is using lots of AI all over the place to help viewers find content. And so you as a creator should really understand, your keyword universe.
Yeah, I have heard about that. And to me, Rob, what that shows is the importance of structure, the importance of starting with the end in mind. We always say research before you press record, and that's why we love vidIQ, because the creator who understands the viewer best wins, understands the language that they're using, what they're looking for. And especially if, like, for example, maybe understanding the questions people are asking about Brickit, the different angles and things they want to learn, you might structure a video that has, 5 tips in it. And then the timestamps, the chapters, to your point, are clearly understood because of understanding the tags, understanding the topics, understanding what it is people want to learn about that, including that in your content. And then the result on the other side is the growth, is the views, is viewer satisfaction, which YouTube has told us that's what they're looking for. The signal of viewer satisfaction being average view duration, people's attention hanging on the video. So I actually love tags, the way they're happening in our culture and even among some of our peers. Some people are throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I know we're on the same page. There, people go to extremes. And of course, it's like just tags alone are not going to be the magic code to rank a bad video. However, some people are ignoring them so much. There's massive opportunity for the Think Media community to lean into the smart way of using tags. So I get excited about, of course, topic research. And I still think they're a big deal because they provide insights that will influence your content.
I think if you do the keyword research right, it should be a case of literally, I've got all of these keywords in a list or somewhere. I'm going to just copy them and then place them in my video tags, and then remove the ones I don't need, add the ones I need, and holistically, it should be like a 2 or 3 minute job as part of your upload process. And I wanted to investigate this channel a little bit further, the one that was ranking #1 for the Brickit app. And if we look here, their value proposition, or one of their value propositions, is they're an adult fan of Lego. Brilliant. This video has 26,000 views. I'd be thinking right now for this creator, I need to make a series about this app because, coming into the holiday season and people are going to be buying Lego and all sorts of things. If this app explodes, imagine if you had a series of videos, 5 to 10 videos, and when people search on YouTube, you just dominate the search terms, and that could become your own, Lego niche, so to speak, in terms of where you are the ambassador, the authority on YouTube for Lego. So that would be an example of identifying opportunities within your video topic. Next, I want you all to play a little game here. And this is going to help us research the competition. So I'm going to show you 2 thumbnails, and I just want you to very quickly tell me in the chat, do you prefer the left thumbnail or the right thumbnail? So is everybody ready? Okay, here are the 2 thumbnails. And that's it. That's all you get. That's the amount of time the potential viewer is going to pay attention to a thumbnail. So with that, the thumbnail needs to pack a big punch. It almost needs to reach out and slap you in the face and tell you, hey, this is a general idea of this thumbnail. Are you going to click on it? Now, fingers crossed, I hope that most of you said the left thumbnail because that's one of my thumbnails. And the one on the right is just one that I picked up from YouTube that was published very recently. And hopefully there are maybe subconscious reasons why you picked that. And what I want to try and encourage you to start doing is asking the question, why did I pick this thumbnail over that thumbnail? Because when you start to answer the questions of why, you can convert those answers into your own content. I just want to give you another example of this. Here's a search for 1,000 subscribers. And hey, Sean, it looks like Think Media is doing very well in this space and they're dominating it, so to speak. And so my question would be here is, if I was going to do a video about 1,000 subscribers, research the competition and try to understand why. Why are all of these thumbnails using the word 1,000? I think it's because it's to try and identify the target audience as quickly as possible. Why are all of the videos 10 minutes or more? Because I think viewers want to, get into the meat of the content. Why is one thumbnail red rather than blue? Maybe it's because it stands out. Why is there a face on all of these thumbnails? So all of these questions you should be asking as, I guess, a viewer trying to convert those ideas into content creation. And so with this information, this is something that you can do with another really cool vidIQ tool. Let's say I've just made a video about 1,000 subscribers, how to get it. And this particular video is about how to get 1,000 subscribers with a single video in a single week. I don't know how this is going to look on YouTube right now because it's not been published. And I don't know how that title and this thumbnail is going to compare versus my competition. But one of the tools that we have here at vidIQ is called the thumbnail preview tool, which is on the right-hand side here on the video editor page. So let's say I want to rank for how to get 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to click this button, and what it's going to do even though the video hasn't yet been published, is insert my thumbnail and title into the search results and say, hey, this is how your video would compare against the competition. So I don't know, Sean, if you want to run the risk of comparing one of your thumbnails against mine, but does mine stand out? Do you think it has potential? I think it doesn't look too bad, but you're the viewer. What's your opinion?
Well, I think there's some really smart things happening here. I think different is better than better. So using this vidIQ tool, Matt's video is number one, it's red predominantly, and then I'm ranked 3 here and it's blue. And so also your green pops because at least it's distinct. And all 3 thumbnails are really quite good because they just come through with a solid punch of color. It'd be interesting to talk because there's so much psychology and science around color and what it might draw different people's eyes and even different genders and perspectives. But your energy is greater than our energy, and I think all 3 are pretty good. But no, it's amazing. It's an incredible thumbnail, and I love this vidIQ tool because researching the competition, what's ranking, and then throwing your thumbnail up there, you might go, okay, cool. Maybe the thumbnail's good, but you could change the hue of the green, and that green could become yellow, or that green could become blue. And maybe you're going to make some tweaks to your thumbnail because you're like, I really want to pop out and be different on that feed compared to all the other thumbnails, so I don't just get lost in the sea of sameness.
You're exactly right. I think when I used this tool before, when I was making this video, I think it had a red background, and I just thought, it's maybe a little too samey. Let's try something radical and new, and I did that. And I think in the end, I think this video did about 100,000 views. Not quite the 1 million you have there. Congratulations, Sean, on another megastar video. But I think this video did okay, and this tool just allows you to get that step ahead to try and evaluate your content before it's published. And there are multiple ways you can use this tool. You can even use it to compare how the video would look on the homepage. I mean, this would be against a random collection of videos. And now I think, oh, look, I'm comparing against this live stream right now, Sean. Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty cool. But I think it does a fairly decent job. So researching the competition and then applying what you've made versus your competition can be really, really powerful.
Super powerful. So we're going through 5 tips. If you're just joining, smash the like button, and super grateful to be partnering with Rob at vidIQ today. If you haven't gotten vidIQ installed yet, if you don't have the free version installed on your computer, like, what are you even thinking? Like, it's the tool that, of course, we've been using for almost a decade now. And you can check everything out at vidiq.com/think, and links in the description down below. But if you also want to grab a trial of one of the paid plans, you can use that link on screen right now. And some of these more powered up features can really make a big difference, especially in getting an edge over the competition, researching the competition, identifying opportunities. And so check out vidiq.com/think. The recap of the tips so far, because we got 5 tips. Number 1, quantity leads to quality. And so just be posting videos. Done is better than perfect, right? Punch fear in the face and start. Your first videos are going to be your worst videos, but over time, doing the reps, you build up those skills. The second tip was identify opportunities. And the third tip was research the competition. Specifically, look at the other thumbnails that are ranking, the other videos that are performing well, and think about how you can maybe come with an alternative cover, a different style of thumbnail, because different is better than better. But Rob, what is tip number 4?
Sean, I love the way you're able to just condense my ramblings into like 10 seconds of knowledge bombs. It's perfect. Thank you very much. There was just a couple more things I wanted to add about the research and the competition. Just to reinforce what I mentioned earlier, if you ask yourself why, why is this video performing better? Why am I watching it 5 minutes through? Why did I click on this? Because the thumbnail is so good. The answers become your next 1% in improving your own content. I mean, a recent example of this for me was I have filmed my videos for so long in automatic on my camera, and I just got to a point where I was seeing other creators and thinking, why do my videos not look that good? Why is the color science not quite right on my content? And so I just decided to say, okay, it's probably because I'm using automatic. So I went into manual, and it took me a couple of hours to work out a decent look. And now I think, hopefully, I look a little better. There's not as much light splashing onto the background, and my skin tones look a lot better. And then some very simple tips that I always suggest to new creators, in terms of thumbnails especially, to win that click. However long you're spending on your thumbnails right now, spend twice as long. And however complicated they currently are, with faces, colors, objects, make them half as complicated, because those are the common mistakes of new creators, that they don't spend enough time on their thumbnails, and they try and fit everything into the thumbnail and explain the entire video, and it gets lost in translation. So on to the next tip here, Sean. What we're looking at here is building momentum through content consistency. And what I mean by that is, once you've won the click and you have people watching your content, we class these as new viewers. But the real key to any YouTube channel to start growing is to convert those new viewers into return viewers. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen on my on the vidIQ channel, but I am running a personal crusade against the concept of subscribers right now. I'm starting to think that beyond the point that they're important for reaching milestones, including monetization, absolutely. A subscription represents a single moment in time when somebody pressed a red button and it leaves a permanent mark on your channel. But the real strength of a channel is when those people, irrespective of whether they subscribed or not, return to your content. And I want to actually go into the YouTube studio here for a phenomenal tool that YouTube released, I'd say about 6 months ago now. And it's new viewers versus return viewers. So hopefully, as you're pushing out content all of the time, you're getting new viewers. But the worry is, if you lack consistency, or you're just making videos that you want to make, those viewers are not going to return. And so you're just going to churn through viewers without building any momentum. So how I'm going to explain this analytic is as follows. The purple line represents return viewers. So those are people who've watched your content once and have returned to your content. And that starts to build loyalty. Again, irrespective of whether they've subscribed. I always call these, my active subscribers. And so the purple line here is running about average. We released a video here. There was a little spike, as you would expect. As you publish videos, you want viewers return. But look at what happened here. Huge spike. Why did that happen? People who've watched my content have returned for this particular video. What was it? And ironically enough, it was a video about reaching 1,000 subscribers. Okay, really interesting. I made a mental note of that. We'll move on and make some more content. And that purple line is dipping a little bit. How am I going to bring those viewers back? And we see another spike. And would you believe it? It's that video we talked about a little earlier, how to get 1,000 subscribers. So now there's a light bulb going off in my head. My audience reacts really well to content I make about that goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. And then at the end here, another huge jump, and we have another video about being under 1,000 subscribers, and this is how to get there. So when we talk about building consistency and getting new viewers to convert into return viewers, that's the important thing. I know we have approaching 1 million subscribers, but these are the viewers who are actually watching our content on a regular basis. And I need to continue to help them with their content. And another aspect of this is people start to worry about alienating their existing audience in terms of, I've already made a video about this topic. I don't want to make it again because that's going to frustrate my current audience. Just remember that when you're making content for a target audience, you're probably only connecting with 3, 4, 5% of that potential audience when there is a huge untapped target audience that you haven't yet reached? I mean, Sean, you play a fine line between YouTube education, but also camera and tech reviews, and I'm curious to know like how you decide what the balance is there to make sure that you're keeping your subscribers and your return viewers happy, but also bringing in a new audience.
Yeah, 100%. And so, first of all, that was a serious money tip. Look at the spikes. Look at the spikes of return viewers, because that's an indication that you're going deeper, regardless if they're subscribers or not. So you had me over here studying some of our themes. And I mean, the biggest thing for us, Rob, is we're really doing two big strategies. One, our focus in our niche here on Think Media is everything is through the lens of YouTube. So we recognize when we review a niche video editing software or a niche camera, inevitably it's going to miss a lot of people, because if you're not a Sony person, you're probably never going to watch a Sony video. If you already use Final Cut 10, you don't care about the iMovie or Premiere videos we're doing. But because of being a resource and a library for all that different kinds of education, we're committed to building up that library and the long tail of these videos performing well in the algorithm, aware that there's a level of a dilution of audience. Because one of the things we teach is never upload a video your subscribers didn't subscribe for. But like at the same time, we know the rule and we violate it intentionally because we're covering lots of different video editing softwares or whatever. But the big theme is that it's through YouTube. And what lately we've been thinking, meaning it's cameras if you want to create YouTube content, video editing software if you want to create YouTube content, tips for how to get more views on your YouTube content. And we are uploading 5 a week right now. And we talk about this at the Think Media team now. We want at least 2 of those videos to apply to a wide audience. It can't be a niche software. It needs to just say, could this video apply to everybody? And typically that's the more when I did the tax update on YouTube. I mean, everyone wants information like that. Or when it is broader strategy videos, potentially even like this one, it's kind of like YouTube tips in general. And so we've got the 2 videos we're trying to have applied to the widest audience possible. And then the other 3 might be very niche search-based content because we're covering a feature of software, or the best lenses for a particular camera. And so, you know, just like all of us, we're just trying to figure it out. I mean, there's so many different, it's so important to understand how YouTube works and study the data. And we're always trying to pivot and adapt our strategy, but that's a tension that we manage. It's not really something black or white. There's some things are black and white. It's like a gray area for us. It's more of a tension to be managed rather than a problem to be solved here at Think Media.
Yeah, and it goes back to the point of like your YouTube channel is not made of glass, you know. As long as you know the foundations of your channel and you know what's going to bring in your return viewers on a regular basis, well, hey, that allows you to experiment 20% of the time. A lot of channels reach a point of success through experimentation, and then they're terrified to do it again because they're afraid of losing what they won. Whereas if they experiment a little bit more, you know, they could see even more success. So I love that idea of, I think that you use the word of tension there, just finding the right balance, pulling one way or another, but not being afraid to do it. So that was building momentum through content consistency. And the final one that I wanted to talk about, which I'm sure many YouTube educators have talked about, it's managing your YouTube goals. Because let's be real about this. You know, 1,000 subscribers is it's a hall. You know, you go into a music gig and that's a hall full of people. 4,000 hours of watch time, I think if my maths are still right on this, is 240,000 minutes, or a single person watching your videos for 166 days or something along that lines. And so I think that if you make this your first goal, then when you're 2 months into your YouTube journey and you have 80 subscribers and 400 hours of watch time, you're going to be a little demotivated and you're going to think, wow, there's such a long slog to go here, because all you're thinking about is that target as opposed to the successes you've already had and the audience you've already built up and, you know, the skills that you've learned through your content. So I want to try and break this down a little bit. I've used my calculator in here, and hopefully these numbers are right. I think I did double check them. So over the course of a year, because let's say the target might be to monetize your channel in a year or less because you need 4,000 hours over 12 months. That actually accounts to 2.7 subscribers per day, or 19.2 subscribers per week, or 83 subscribers per month. And, to begin with, you might not be hitting those targets. You might be getting 1 subscriber a day, or, half a subscriber a day. But hopefully, as you build that momentum of content consistency, you'll start to have 5 subscribers, 6 subscribers a day. So you'll easily catch yourself up. And then the really interesting one is watch time. So I've tried to break it down into something that's digestible here. To reach 4,000 hours of watch time over the course of a year, that's 10 hours, 57 minutes of watch time per day, which still sounds like a monumental task. But if you put it into the world of YouTube, that could be 200 views per day, which sounds a lot more digestible. And of those 200 views, it's each viewer watching your content for 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Or, if you've got 300 views per day, that would reduce the audience view duration. And I think when you start to look at it in terms of the small goals and reaching those targets, then it feels a lot more manageable. But we have so many comments on our channel about, I've tried all of the things that you've suggested, and it still hasn't worked. And you look at their channel, and there's still so many things that they could improve, and they just need to have patience and apply the strategies and tactics that both you, Sean, and I, and everyone else are encouraging at all times. So it's that classic one: manage your YouTube goals. But I'd be fascinated to know if anybody's seen the numbers divided in such a weird and wonderful way.
No, that's really powerful for you to break it down like that, because kind of what gets measured gets improved, and it makes things practical when we really see those numerical goals. If we're trying to get out of debt, we need to know how far in debt we are. Then we need to know what's coming in and how much we can potentially save and commit towards that debt. And maybe it's only a little a month, but little by little, a little can become a lot. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you get your first 1,000 subscribers? 1 subscriber at a time. And I like to encourage people that you're also always 1 video away from changing your life and your YouTube channel.
Indeed, yeah.
A lot of times it happens out of the grind of the quantity and learning and sharpening your skills. But sometimes you don't know which video was going to pop off or blow up. And especially sometimes if it's a longer video, maybe you do a live stream or a longer video about a trending topic. And maybe it gets a little bit of higher average view duration and watch time minutes. 1 video can get to 4,000 hours. I mean, that's challenging, but we see that happen when a video breaks out, maybe over a couple of months, if it keeps being viewed, if it ranks in search, if it's being suggested by the YouTube algorithm. And so I love that you made that practical. And I'd love to hear, A, if you're getting value out of this video, smash the like button. B, are you looking at your clock in the back end of your YouTube channel? How many watch time hours do you have so far? And where are you on your journey to getting 4,000 so that you become eligible for monetization? I'm sure you have some tips, and I want to answer a question that came in from Super Chat. And if you've got a question, throw 4 question marks before and after. We'll be able to take a couple. But Rob, anything else on this point about managing your YouTube goals?
I would say that your first goals, your goals should always be something that are attainable in roughly a month. So let's say, for example, you start your YouTube channel. I would say that it's realistic to reach, 25 subscribers in that first month if you make 10 or 15 videos. And from the watch time hours perspective, you may be looking at 50 hours of watch time. And although you don't think you're going to reach your targets in the next year, you're building momentum. Once you hit 25, then you're thinking about 50 subscribers, then 100 subscribers, then 250 subscribers. And it's those small incremental steps that if you continually hit, it's that little adrenaline rush. Yeah, I've got to that one. now I'm getting 3 subscribers a day. I'm on course, but I'm not going to stop there. I'm not going to sit on these analytics. I'm going to review them. I'm going to continue to research my content and then pump out even better content. Because as you say, Sean, in terms of, I call this depositing time, effort, and content into the YouTube bank. Sometimes you just don't know when that dividend's going to pay out. But when it does, when YouTube finally recognizes your content, it will pay you back in a big way. I've seen quite a few creators say, my click-through rate is at 15% and I'm getting 60% audience retention. I thought that was really good. And my answer to that is, it is. Be patient. YouTube is going to eventually figure out exactly who your audience is. And then as you say, Sean, one video sometimes can be the one. Even if sometimes you don't realize it, you could publish it and 3 months later, there it goes. It suddenly hits the search algorithm or the discovery engine.
So powerful. In a second, we're going to talk about some of your questions. We're going to talk about best software for thumbnails and YouTube Shorts. That question came in. I'm curious Rob's take. But if you're just joining the stream, smash the like button. And super pumped to be partnering on this deep dive training. Make sure to go back and watch it if you didn't catch the beginning with Rob from vidIQ. And right now you can get a free month of any paid plan on vidIQ with the link in the description down below, or you can just go to vidiq.com/think. Making data-driven decisions and having the best possible tools is a great way to get an edge in a 2021 YouTube landscape. But Rob, I'm curious when it comes to thumbnails, how do you create your thumbnails and what are some of the softwares you recommend? This super chat, thank you, Greggy, for bringing that in about Canva, which is a great web-based software. But how do you like creating thumbnails?
So I use Photoshop, and I actually have to give a lot of credit here to Jeremy Vest, who helped me, mentored me a little bit in making thumbnails. He has lots of really helpful tips and suggestions as I was building out mine. I think Canva is an excellent way of making thumbnails, and I think one of the best ways to think about your thumbnail content is to establish a template of some kind, because what you want is consistency through your thumbnails, which means that when sometimes you'll get to the point where a viewer doesn't necessarily care about what the content is. They just know it's from Think Media or vidIQ, and they'll watch it regardless. And so if you have that instinctive association through the style of your thumbnails, that can really help with creation. And I mean, if I was just going to rattle off, a few thumbnail tips in this sense, if you're going to have a face on screen, make it as animated as possible, and make sure you see the whites of a person's eyes. In terms of colors, try and limit it to 3 dominant colors or less, because once you have more colors on screen, it turns into a very complex, chaotic thumbnail when it's reduced down to postage stamp size. And then in terms of elements, I think of maybe having no more than 3 or 4 elements, and that could be a YouTuber face, an object of some kind, whatever it is you're maybe talking about in the video, some text, and then a background, a dominant background color. And those are your 3 or 4 elements you might have it in thumbnails. I think Canva has some free options, so that's certainly a good one. And I think also GIMP is another one, which is a good starting point. I hear that's almost like the online Photoshop free version of thumbnail creation. What about, have you got any suggestions, Sean?
No, I mean, you really hit them. I do think we lean towards Canva because it's easy to use, web-based, and the free version is powerful. And then Photoshop is what we use here at Think Media. But Rob, I'm curious, this is the topic we're talking about is how to get those first 4,000 watch time hours. I'm curious your take on YouTube Shorts right now, and if you would recommend channels that want to grow, be experimenting with YouTube Shorts or using that as their way of growing their channel. And it's going to take a little longer to get the watch time hours, but if you get high views at 60 seconds or less on some content, it's going to add to your bottom line. What's your hot take on Shorts, Rob?
Okay, so we first have to address YouTube Shorts monetization and the fact that if a video is watched through the YouTube Shorts player, then any watch time from that video will not count towards monetization. So I have to be very clear about that. Also, the monetization mechanism for YouTube Shorts is going to be completely different. So when we're talking about the YouTube Partner Program, getting to 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time, even if you are in a YouTube Partner Program and you make YouTube Shorts, you won't earn any ad revenue from YouTube Shorts. YouTube are going down a different path where it's going to be invite only to some of the, I guess, the more successful creators. Now, hopefully in the long run, a year to 18 months down the line, then there may be a more accessible monetization programs like, a YouTube Shorts partner program. But what I will say is that I have seen some channels that make YouTube Shorts successfully transition into making either short form landscape content, so it's still like 40 seconds long or a minute and a half, but it is eligible for monetization, or move from shorts content to long form content. An example I can think of off the top of my head is a channel called BlockFacts, and they started making 27-second Minecraft shorts about every block in the game, and they got billions of views, millions of subscribers, and earned less than 5 figures from all of this because they weren't getting any monetizable views. But now they've got an audience, they've successfully transitioned that audience to long form content, which is 10 minutes long, and they're still getting millions and millions of views because they've got a very loyal community, and now they've really been able to monetize it. So yeah, sure, Sean, in terms of Sean's, say that fast 10 times. It's a very tricky dynamic right now. Although YouTube Shorts exists on the YouTube platform, in terms of how a creator is going to monetize that, it's a very different prospect and proposition. And we have to realize still that YouTube Shorts is technically in beta. And from where it was this time last year, in that it didn't exist, I think it's incredible now that we've got to a point where I think I saw this statistic yesterday that there are now 15 billion shorts views on a daily basis, which I find incredible. I mean, 3 months ago, it was 6.5 billion. So there's still opportunity for expansion. We just don't know where the monetization aspect of this is going to be in the long term. But YouTube is going to figure out a way. They always figure out a way to make this financially viable for the creator.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I like the big takeaway for me is that if you do lean into them, shorts could lead to initial exposure. It could lead to some awareness, some growth, some subscribers. And if you can transition that into, if that same audience would want to watch some longer form kind of traditional YouTube videos, then that might be a way of getting noticed right now. Question for you from Dr. Omar. And I'm going to take it 2 places. Can I make a bilingual channel about medicine in English and Arabic, or keep a channel for each language? So should he do 2 channels? Should the channel be bilingual? And then my question for you is, does keyword research and tools like vidIQ, is it relevant for multiple languages? What are some of your tips?
So I'll answer the second question first. As long as people are searching for the content on YouTube, irrespective of the language, vidIQ will be able to provide you with search results and data and that type of thing. Now, in terms of a bilingual audience, think of it from the viewer's point of view, or my point of view. If I watch a video in English and then the next video is in a language I don't understand, that's going to alienate me as a viewer. And then I don't know when you're going to be publishing the next video that I can understand. So I personally would recommend having a separate channel for different languages. And we actually have experience of this because not only do I speak English, but I also speak Spanish and Russian because we have a Spanish and Russian vidIQ channel. Now, the truth of it is we actually have a team called Unilingo who do a fantastic job. They bring in professional voiceover artists and they dub me in those different languages. And we've grown the Spanish channel now to 160,000 subscribers in itself, which is incredible. The Russian channel, I think, is about 25,000 subscribers because they really appreciate that we've gone to the efforts of fully translating our content. And we're not just talking about the voice dubbing. We actually go into the screens and change the language to their native language wherever we can. So I would highly recommend segmenting your channels into different languages. I think Mr. Beast has just done this as well. I think he's just launched a Spanish channel where, again, they've done the dubbing. I have, though, I'm not sure if this is going to be rolled out fully, but I'm sure I saw a couple of weeks ago on one of Mr. Beast's videos that there was the option to actually change the language track. You could change it from English to Spanish, but I don't know if YouTube are going to be rolling it out. And I think that also adds complications in terms of, translating your tags, titles, and descriptions, which you can do. But oh man, that sounds really messy, Sean. I mean, if I was to ask you the question, if you were going to start dubbing your language into dubbing your content into another language, would you start with a new channel, do you think, or would you try and merge it into the existing Think Media empire?
100% I would start a different channel because, again, to the principle of never upload a video your subscribers didn't subscribe for. If I click subscribe because I expect the videos to be in English and then some Spanish videos start coming at me, I'm not ready for that. And chances are you would, alienate your audience or just miss your audience and really mess with your click-through rate, and people would be skipping over every other video or whatnot. And so, yeah, I think starting a second channel. And I think one thing that's important to talk about that as well, Rob, I mean, you mentioned Mr. Beast doing it. We're talking Mr. Beast, and we're talking about a multi-million dollar business with a huge team, editors, infrastructure. And, some here, a couple questions came in about, should I, I've got two channels, like, should I start a second channel, or these are the two channels I'm working on? And I like to caution about trying to do multiple channels because it's hard enough at the start, because it's hard enough to do one channel well. And so when you start to divide your focus, you lessen your impact. But it's kind of like a quote from Michael Jordan that says, be a laser, don't be a flashlight. So I think when you're starting, really focus, and someday you might want to expand into another language, or you bring in enough revenue to have somebody help you do that. Because if you're already trying to be the solo creator that's getting all of one type of content out, man, if you start trying to do multiple channels, again, it's going to dilute the focus on each. And I think focus is power.
Folks, I want you to give me a thumbs up in the chat if you think Sean Cannell should release a book this holiday season called My Favorite Quotes. Because every time I watch one of your videos, Sean, you just come out with some amazing quote that just makes so much sense. I'm not going to forget that one now. Yeah, be a laser, not a flashlight. Love it.
Well, Rob, I'm super fired up. Listen, if you're just joining the stream, hit the like button. And today's training was all about how to get your first 4,000 watch time hours. There's 5 tips. Quality leads to quantity. Identify opportunities, research the competition, build momentum through content consistency, and manage your YouTube goals. You're going to want to watch the whole training to make sure that you can see all the nuances and details that were shared within that. And we have time codes and chapters that you can find your way around the video. So check those out in the description. And also check out vidIQ. It's one of our favorite tools. Today we're partnered with vidIQ, but years ago when I was, before Think Media had Nolan and Omar and Heather Torres and Tony Ariola, and before it was a team, and before we were doing 5 videos to 7 videos a week, I was like how everybody starts on YouTube, shooting videos in my bedroom, doing the shooting, doing the editing, doing the content creation, doing the topic research, doing the video optimization, doing the video SEO. And I've been using vidIQ for years and years and years. So it's super cool that Rob is here and that we're collaborating today. And I'm excited to be doing a lot more stuff with vidIQ in the future. And so you'll see him back on the channel as well. But we have 1 or 2 more questions. And specifically, this one kind of goes into the training, Rob. The Cello Online says, when studying the competition, how do you narrow down what videos you might also make when the competitors' videos are equally popular?
So I'm just trying to fully understand this. How do you narrow down the videos you might also make when the competitors are equally popular?
Should you make the same videos that they make? Are you trying to make a spin-off of them? When you go and see the top 5 to 10 ranked videos or videos being suggested to you, how do you synthesize that information to come up with which idea you're going to make next? That's my interpretation of the question.
Yeah, I was worried that we were going back to the concept of you're comparing yourself too much to a competitor and they're much further on in their journey in terms of, I'm looking at all of these channels with 50,000 subscribers plus, and, I'm here with 500 subscribers thinking, how can I compete with them? Yeah, so I look at it from this point of view in terms of whenever you're looking at somebody else's content and you see they have success, even if you try and replicate their content, as a creator, you're going to be adding your own interpretation, your own style, your own voice. I'm going to be open and honest right now. I sometimes use Think Media as an idea generator. I'll watch some of their videos and I'll think, oh, I really like the way the title lists and the thumbnail there, and I like the content. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a similar piece of content, but I'm going to add my own voice to it. I'm going to use the humor that I sometimes add to my videos, and I'm going to make sure that I incorporate the vidIQ tools into this, so that I'm not necessarily trying to steal Think Media's thunder, but I'm adding to the conversation of the topic. And it's up to the viewer at that point to decide whether they choose A or B, or they choose both in watching their content. So I would say, don't be afraid to look at other channels and what the content that they're making. And I've also called this sometimes passive collaboration. A collective community is making content based on what's trending and what the discussions are, but always think about how you're going to make it unique to your audience and unique to to YouTube as a whole. And I think that's developed through just putting in the hard yards, putting in the miles, and developing your own voice and your own style. I hope I've interpreted the question some way correctly there.
Yeah, I hope you've, your own voice, your own style. And as a resource that I would recommend, there's a really great documentary, a second version is coming out, called Everything is a Remix. It's pretty old now. And that's why I think version 2 is coming out soon, from Kirby Ferguson. And it's been one of the most inspiring videos, documentaries I've seen. It's a 2-parter. It came out in 2010, but it sort of was just this idea that they even talk about like a Quentin Tarantino movie like Kill Bill, and they showed frame by frame how he had scenes with the exact same shot composition, the exact same kind of inspiration to old kung fu films and old Western films. Of course, he synthesized all of these older inspirations from his favorite directors or from his favorite music producers producing scores and made something new. But the idea of everything as a remix is that you're not plagiarizing, but you're synthesizing all these different ideas into your own original piece of content, your unique take, your unique angle to it. And then someone said you're adding to the conversation. And there's a lot of power to do that. But anyways, definitely you can Google that. Everything is a remix. It's a fun watch. Finally, as we land the plane, just want to thank Silky Feather for the super chat as well. And I looked at your channel, and I would say with the around under 300 subscribers you have, I would build on the channel that you already have. Now that you have a clear idea, I think definitely apply some of the thumbnail advice that was in this video, and start plowing forward. Like, you're not so far in building a subscriber audience that you'd be taking too much of a right turn. It looks like your videos have been kind of random, and you've certainly got some views. Get focused, make that commitment, and then start posting those videos. I'd keep them on the same channel. And smash like if you got video today. Rob, the final word I want to hear from you is just this idea of, man, YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. And in marathons, we get tired. And sometimes tired eyes don't see a bright future. Can you just speak as a creator yourself, as accomplished in so many different areas, just a little bit of encouragement to those on the journey to get those 4,000 watch hours, that maybe some are just at the beginning of the journey, and you're probably like, I mean, you posted 7 videos, man, you got some work ahead of you. But some of us have maybe posted 50 videos. Maybe we're over 100. We feel like we aren't getting the results yet. Can you just synthesize some ideas for persevering on this journey to monetization into 4,000 watch time hours?
Sure, Sean, but let me write that down first. Tired eyes don't lead to a bright future. Okay, I've got that one down as well perfectly. I would argue that YouTube is not a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's an ultra marathon. And I would always say 2 things I always start with is, first of all, you've got to understand whether you enjoy making YouTube content, enjoy being a video creator, because if you are successful at it, you're going to be making a lot of videos over a long period of time. And to use a quote from Morpheus from the Matrix franchise, there's a difference between knowing a path and walking a path. And again, that's why I encourage you to just get stuck in and start making videos to understand whether you're going to enjoy making it. 12 years and 2,000 videos down the line, because I think that's where I currently am in my journey. I think setting expectations to begin with, in terms of investing as much time and I guess motivation into yourself to understand the skills of making content, and to then understand what an audience wants to watch from you, can be really beneficial. There's going to be plenty of time to start building an audience, but I think you have to make sure that you're happy in yourself as a content creator first. Then when you start to build momentum, and I think, again, this is really important, recognize that momentum and capitalize on it. Don't make one video and then go in a completely different path, and then go in a completely different path, and ignore what YouTube is telling you about the successes on your channel. Because by the time you've created 25, 50 videos, some people even encourage making 100 bad videos, you will have data to work with. You will have patterns. There may be 90 terrible videos that you've made, but 10 of those videos have performed better than you would expect. And those are your, I guess, touch points. Those are your, I guess, the excited eyes of a bright future. And that's what you really want to be focusing down on, saying, right, how can I leverage this successful content and make all of the content going forward do similar things. And I think I'll stop there because I'm going to end up just rambling on as much as I can. I hope that was inspiring. Sean, as always, just sum this up in 5 seconds, what I've just said.
Rob, no, I appreciate you, and thank you so much for breaking that down and for the training today. Think Media, I hope you got value out of this training. If you're just joining, check out the replay right here on the channel, smash like. And there's another video that Rob created with some specific tips for getting the first 1,000 subscribers. And so you can click or tap the screen to watch that one right now. Check out show notes and links in the description down below for all the resources we talked about. And in the meantime, keep crushing it, keep smashing it, and we will talk soon. Peace.